What's happening, y'all? It's Mansa Musa, the Pharaoh, and coming back to y'all with part 2 for Wavenomics video, the series. Excuse me. So it's the 23rd of February, 2019, and we about to get to it. This, let me give a recap real quick, because I made that shit probably like a good 3 months ago, maybe about 3 months ago. So basically, I think in the first video, I should like watch it real quick to recap, but I already it's this download was on point when I was given this is to make it and give it to the world. But like you could say God, you could say Allah, you could say Jah, or it's all one and the same. All the above. How about that? All the above. Once I got this idea, you know what I mean? Because it connects to and that's what I think I was talking about. I was basically explaining what it is and it connects to anything. So now I ain't gonna really stress about that or talk about that. But what we gonna talk about is like a narrative of Wavenomics, and that is the seated wave concept. So I want to really talk about this because this is what's gonna really make or break Wavenomics, and if you're using ours. And so let me give a recap from my memory. So Wavenomics is like if you imagine you going to the store. Here's an analogy: you go into the store, you get up, you depend on where you at right now and what you're doing. You gotta, your goal is to go to the store, so you have a goal. And the next, and the reason why you're going to the store is why you're going. So basically, Wavenomics would be like, if you was to break down the stages of something, and dealing from the goal and dealing from what I'm about to talk about right now, which I call the seated wave, which is the desire or the reason why. And you go and you get, you're not knowledge, you go to the store, come back. So basically you break down the stages. Now, if you apply that to something like, you can apply it to anything. Basically, if you able to like third personally analyze something, you could kind of like algorithmically lay out something. You can basically you could compare that to mathematics. It's one and the same of everything, and everything is kind of like a wave. You're supposed to put emphasis on the concept of wave. The word wave, is like a wave, and nomics is actually a suffix that I said in the first video, but just for recap purposes, just look it up. So basically, the law of. So nomics is the law of something, right? So it's the law of something. All right? Cool. So Wavenomics is the law of wave, or cause and effect. So basically, the idea of Wavenomics though is as being applicable to anything, is that you're now able to third personally analyze something, and a lot of possibilities can come from that. You can third personally analyze anything. So now let's talk about seated wave. I don't want this to be a long video. So seated wave. All right. So seated wave can be like, seated wave can be like this. Seated wave can be like, right. Let's go back to the store analogy. You want to go to the store and you want to get you some Fonto. You want to go to the store and you want to get you some chips. You want to go to the store, you know what I'm saying? And it could be anything, basically the seated wave is like the desire or the goal. Now, a seated wave can be even more deeper because it's the concept of the seated wave is mainly like as a narrative, as a derivative. Like it's basically like a pillar of the concept of the trajectory analyzation of a wave. So it's not necessarily a stationary perspective. It's like more of like a law. It's more of like a aspect of it. So, okay, so if I'm going to the store and like, I want to get something and that's my goal, you can also say that's a seeded wave. But you can also say your seeded wave is like because you're hungry or because you desire it or because you need to buy this or whatever it is. So basically the concept seeded wave becomes something like your purpose. This is also good because I believe like, well, first of all, I want to just stress without stressing, there's no stress, but I want anybody watching this to keep in mind, right, that the Wavenomics, the concept, I don't know how anybody would feel about this or hear about this yet, but soon I'll be making more videos to kind of really show how it can be utilized. This can be applied to anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be applied to anything. To anything. Okay? Doesn't matter what it is. Your whole life, you can see it as a trajectory wave. So it's like the concept seeded wave, especially in the specific drama that we exist in right now, that people think is life. The specific drama that we all sharing as a collective. The seeded wave concept can be very beneficial to somebody from a psychological standpoint. If you are dealing with some issues, you can kind of like, as a result of mastering the concepts that I bring with Wavenomic, you could basically utilize that as a narrative to help you now, for the first time, third personally uh, analyze your actual life, analyze your actual trajectory narrative that led to you being ridiculed and suffering with something like a disorder of some sort. That's just a mirror of anxiety or fear, or just a mirror of like some type of a habitatable obsessionally compulsive thing, right? And it's like it always narrows back to one of those things, or some type of like disassociation with realism. So basically, you know, pretty much that's basically what is possible as a result of me creating this. So I think I pretty much, I said as much as I needed to say. I will do other videos. There's also like a kind of writing way of doing it that I want to basically eventually put out. So there's writing it. There's also like, of course, the seeded wave concept is not the only pillar of how to approach this reality. If how to approach this way of analysis or logic. I don't know what I would define this, so writing system. Also, there could be other things. I just want to put that out there. There's probably other things that already exist that's similar to this. It's just, I once said in my first video, I know I said it, that Wavenomic is a Wavenomic. So me like basically expressing this and creating it, it leads to things. You hear me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it leads to things. And whatever it leads to is going to make shit happen. Who knows? We're going to see what happens to that. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But one thing I can say, and here's a perfect example of seeded wave from a real higher wave, or Wavenomic, because I'm coming through with this out of a good heart. So let me say that again. Because I'm coming through with this out of a good heart. You heard me? Then this will manifest into something out of that heart. So it's like a seed. Like, so seeded wave is also, you can compare it to a seed. Like, here's another good analogy. And this is like, now we're dealing directly with nature and science. So you have and this is how I'm going to, when I start doing other videos about the other pillars in, creating and deciphering waves. Basically, an analogy is like this, and this is an analogy I always come back to. And I'm gonna leave it at this because it's about to be 10 minutes in. You have a seed, you plant that seed. What happens to that seed? That seed turns into a flower based off whatever that seed is. So that means that, scientifically speaking, that seed will turn into that flower. And then when it blossoms, that is now end, the end part of that wave. And that is like, it's either you preserve it and you keep it alive or you let it die out. So this is an example of the type of narrations that I'm basically going to be speaking on. That what Wavenomic is. All right. So that's it. So you guys whoever watching this, hope you have a good rest of your day. Hatep, peace, Yeru, and namaste, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Peace.